Excellence at PTC. And today I'm going to be walking through what Codebeamer is as a solution. Codebeamer is our ALM solution that is available on the cloud for modern product and software development with all-in-one requirements, risk, and test management capabilities. The true strength of Codebeamer, I would say, really lies within software development. In terms of software, you can think of having different processes, right? You have more releases to deal with, different bugs you have to deal with, different iterations you have to go in and patch. So the whole delivery process is really different, complex, and the compliance issues is also very different. But this doesn't really mean that Codebeamer does not support hardware development, but our real strength within it would lie within software development. Just as an agenda of what I'm going to be covering today, starting off with a few challenges that Codebeamer can help address, what Codebeamer is as a solution, the capabilities it offers. Then I'm going to be walking through a live demonstration of the interface and finishing off with a bit of value talk of what it could provide you for your business. Starting off with the different challenges, first, I would say would be traceability. There are many teams today that work in different locations. People might be working on different versions of things, might have a lot of manual paper-based work as well. So people are getting out of sync today, and it has become a huge problem within the industry. There's a lot of challenges with collaboration as well. There's no real traceability to changes being made. There's no baselines to work with, so people can't really work and collaborate together. There's a lot of issues with efficiency and reuse when you can think of manual work being done. This leads to a lot of errors on very different levels, and there is no real reuse of this material being done. There's also a lack of integration with different broken tool integrations, different broken processes, and no real standard data exchange support. We see a lot of issues with compliance. Businesses and enterprises use a lot of Excel, Word, different manual validations, paper-based processes, and there is no industry-specific process enforcement. There's no e-signatures being implemented, no reviews being implemented. And there is a lot of tool limitations. Tools today are not scaling with business needs. IT as a department is being overloaded with challenges concerning security, performance, and high availability. So teams are finding it very difficult to be successful and have the tools they need to be that successful. Our solution here at PTC is Codebeamer. It is our application lifecycle management platform for advanced product and software development. The open platform extends different ALM functionalities with product line configuration capabilities, and it provides very unique configurability with complex processes as well. It offers capabilities including collaboration and knowledge sharing with wiki knowledge base. There's a lot of holistic searching available, document management, security, and secure collaboration with internal and external stakeholders. It provides you with granular artifact traceability, process traceability, historical traceability, and granular code traceability as well. It allows you to reuse your requirements, test cases, and processes along with reusing your code and different variants. It really helps to optimize the reuse of the original rather than having to go back in and repeat all the work that you've done. It offers great capabilities for integrations with Microsoft Office. For example, we have a lot of extensibility with different plugins and APIs available. It has regulatory compliance built within it with industry-specific workflow templates, different e-signatures, review systems, automated audit trails, validation, and deployment. And from an architectural perspective, it can scale from small teams to very large enterprises. It is very secure and agile with high availability for SaaS and on-premise deployment. Now we're going to be jumping into our live demonstration of Codebeamer and dive deeper into what the platform has to offer. We're going to begin in our user's personal wiki. A wiki is a page that can be configured to allow a user to show any information that might be relevant. This could include open reviews, current work items, items assigned to me, and any other information relevant to you as a user. In terms of reporting and reporting engines, Codebeamer provides a global reporting engine that allows users to go in and drag and drop different fields onto the form. You can go in and execute different reports and have access to shared reports within the tool as well. When we want to talk about different reviews, in Codebeamer, each user might be assigned one or more reviews within the system. You can go and jump into a specific review assigned to you, process the review by looking at all the information you were asked to look at, go in and approve or reject that information, and you have the option to go in and leave comments. Comments are tracked. We have a history that shows you who left which comment, what that purpose is for it. And after you're done with the review, the information will be pushed back to the owner of the review process. Now, if you want to go in and look at individual projects, Codebeamer provides a wealth of different templates to support different vertical markets. This could include automotive for things like ASPICE or 26262, medical device spaces for 14971, and other markets for other ISO needs as well. If we want to go and jump into a specific project, we'll start by getting into that project specific wiki. This is the wiki outlining all the information for that specific project, which talks about Agile model framework methodology. You can see on the left, we have different wikis and dashboards for different levels of information we want to see. As users, we have the portfolio level dashboard that shows you different graphics of information, revenue, department, status, the program level, the team level structure, the requirement dashboard. You can add more dashboards and wikis based on your project and your team needs as well. Codebeamer provides lightweight documentation management as well. Any documentation that needs to be associated to information that is in the project but doesn't necessarily need to be managed as individual objects, such as documents, test documents, can be managed within this document system. It really provides version capabilities, description, information, and really lightweight document management type capabilities within it. We also have integrations with a variety of software code management repositories. For the case of today, I'm just going to show you an integration with GitHub. You'll notice how, in this case, how every time a user does a specific push of information in GitHub, we can associate that specific push with an object. We have a task in Codebeamer for this as an item. From an author's perspective, it really is important for you to understand why your source code is being modified, who has done that modification, and what that information of modification is really about. Now we'll jump into trackers. And this is really the main payload of information inside Codebeamer. This is where we define our objects and define the relationships between those objects. You can think of a tracker as a bucket with configurable fields, different access rights and permissions. This is where your data is being stored and can be connected to each other with unique references and permissions. One way for you to view those relationships between the different objects is by looking at the configuration diagram. You can view the relationship information and the links between them. It will show you how everything is linked together, concepts around different standards and regulations can be linked to different user specifications, different system requirements, software requirements, customer requirements, anything you might need. And you can go in and add and layer new objects onto that diagram and see the different linkages defined for those specific objects. So you really can go and walk through your data model and see what those relationships look like within your system. Now we're going to look at one specific tracker, which is our system requirements. And what you'll see is a document view of within Codebeamer, much like you would have Word doc. As an example, you would have your decomposition on the left side, you would have your main payload on the right side. You can go in and import from Word and Excel the information needed and export that data as necessary. We can also do some linking of information. You'll notice that we have some specific requirement, has some downstream references to specific test cases, and there are some downstream associations to system requirements. You can also see some upstream links from system requirements to customer requirements, and you can open the details on these specific objects and dig deeper into the comments, different attachments associated with them, the different references, and you can look at the history of the object in our audit history. You can also go in and look at the traceability of each individual object by looking at the system requirements down to the subsystem requirements and digging deeper into each individual test case. You have the option to choose the number of levels you want to look at within the tool. Now, if you want to go back to our system requirements, you are able to generate different test cases for any of the objects that you have available. Here, if I click on this specific plus sign, you can see I have a list of the number of objects that allow linkages to be made. You're able to generate different test cases and create them for your specific objects. You can also go in and edit any of your objects and make changes as necessary. We have a quick insert menu available to help do some quick add-ins and changes, adding in specific data, specific diagrams, specific lists of information as you need. And at any point within Codebeamer, you can go in and see the workflow of your objects. We have in our menu, have an option to take you to that workflow. And this will show you in this particular case, the steps needed for that specific object to go from a new phase to a completion phase. You're also able to go in and create new traces as you move further along with your development process by linking objects to pre-existing ones. Here, if I open my library on my right panel, I will have a list view of all of the objects available to me that I have access to. If I click on one particular object, I can drag and drop it into the specific artifacts that I have and create different types of linkages, associations, and references for those specific objects. Within Codebeamer, you're also able to view and edit data in different ways. We have different views, such as the documentation view that you see right here. We have a table view for you to see the data in a different light. You can think of it as an Excel type data view where you can see your metadata and make different changes to columns, to different rows of information. We also have a Kanban view, which our trackers can be used with. It is mostly commonly used with Agile methodologies to really help users move along their project lifecycle and change and transition their tasks from state to state. You can go in and make these state transitions for specific requirements. The system knows that there are only a few transitions you can really make in that case. So you can't go back from in progress to do. You can only do verify or done in this case. This will really help you to manipulate data and move objects through their life cycle along the way. Another view available is our test coverage view. Not only the data, not only having the ability to link the data and test different artifacts, but you also have the ability to know where you stand from a coverage perspective. Here, for example, for our test requirements, you can see we have a summarized overview perspective of the data, and you can go in and dig deeper into each individual object as well. You can look at the different coverages and understand the relationships and the areas needed to be covered better. Why is this specific test case incomplete? Is it because I haven't run it yet, or is it because of a separate issue? You can understand all of that information from the specific view. Now, if we want to go in and look at verification and validation, what we're going to take a look at is different test information. Within Codebeamer, you are able to create different test cases and link them to different requirements. You also have the capability to group them into test sets, where you group these test cases that need to be executed as part of your verification and validation process. In terms of test configuration, this would allow you to define the information that is needed in the test running process. And you have the ability to run different tests within Codebeamer as well. You would go in and manually be able to execute these test cases against the objects that you have. If we go in and take a look at a specific test run, you can see we already have some execution that has been done already. If you click on that specific one, we can go in and see the different metrics of what's been executed, what is the summary of that information. You can dig deeper into the relationships back into the requirements and look into the details of the test results. If a test failed, you can look at the metadata of the steps and understand which specific step has failed. Is it something with preparation or not? At any point, you can run the test within the tool or from Excel. If I go in and run the specific test, we can see the different steps that have been done, add in the information, look at the different results, add different comments to make sure we capture all the information for that specific test run. And we can also go in and add different parameters. Within Codebeamer, we have the capability to add parameters. So if you have a set of tests that need to use different parameters, you can utilize this parametric capability to run those separate tests. You can also go in and report a bug, for example, by either creating a new one based on your test results or by searching for a pre-existing one and really truly understand what is driving the particular failure within your system. Now, if we want to go in and look at product risk and safety analysis, we're going to take a quick look into the product information. Based on your use case or how you want to do risk control, one thing I would draw your attention to is the risk matrix diagram available within Codebeamer. It has a configurable view of that matrix table, and you're able to go in and look at it from different perspectives, understand what your risks are, define your vertical and horizontal definitions, and tailor your criticalities based on your standards, your regulations, and your project needs. You can also go in and look at the mitigation table of those risks, be able to move any catastrophic or very critical um, risks into safe and more negligible environments. And you're able to look at the final combined state of both the risk and the mitigation table as well. We also export this information to Word and Excel as needed. Now we're going to talk about the Agile methodology available within Codebeamer. In this particular model, we have the product planning and the project planning concepts, where we have the project plan, which represents the release streams that are being built and developed. There are many Agile teams that you have access to, different epics, stories, different tasks, and change request dashboards available as well. If we want to jump into the specific project plan, you'll see we have a view of data. In the product plan, we have different release streams that we can take a look at into, and there are different sprints that have been orchestrated against this particular release. We can dig deeper into the specific objects that relate to any of the particular sprints as well. If we jump into the product development plan, we can go in and look at the Gantt chart associated with it and pick up any sprint information, such as the timeline of the sprint, any of the ongoing processes, and any of the information that really relates to that specific sprint. You are also able to look at the project planning concept and be able to have access to a product backlog where you have access to different objects of interest associated with that particular sprint. You can go in and filter these different objects of interest to flight through any particular sprints that you have. You can add in different ranks to these objects, rank them if you have 50 of them and you don't really want to go in and search particularly for one of them, you can rank them based on relevance and importance to your particular information. You can define several variables to any of those specific objects, such as having a story point or being able to assign a particular object to a specific team or assigning it to a particular individual as well. And you can do that from the menu, or you can do that by dragging and dropping that particular object into the left panel we have. So if I take in one specific one, I can drag and drop it into the specific member and it's assigned to him immediately. I can do that for different sprints and different sprint phases as well. So it's not just limited to members. And finally, what I wanted to discuss was baselines. In Codebeamer, what baselines are is they can be created to capture the state of the content in any given moment. They really function as a snapshot, and they are references to the current version of the content in a given moment. You can think of them as an additional label to a particular object. They are very useful in that case. If you want to go in and do a comparison between different baselines, look at the differences in the major milestones for those particular baselines, you have access to that information. It shows you an overview of all the statistical information being what's been added, modified, moved, removed, all the information into the trackers and the different documents. And you can go in and really dig deeper into the different trackers, the documents, show the differences, understand that content, and look at it from any perspective you wish for it. So this has really been that live demonstration in Codebeamer, the ability to not only manage different waterfall, agile methodologies, it has capability to do that all within a singular platform by configuring or using the templates available to tailor to your specific businesses. Now we're going to jump back into the presentation and talk about more about what value does Codebeamer bring you as a business. First of all, it has a lot of openness and expandability. It docks into your ecosystem via REST and Swagger APIs and out-of-the-box integrations. It has a lot of flexibility to allow suppliers to be able to connect and collaborate within it as well. It offers enterprise agile support with complete agile set. It has top-notch agile planning and development without compromising on any compliance and standards. It offers a lot of artifact and process traceability along with the life cycle from a singular environment. You have visualization of dependencies and transparency for regulatory compliance. In terms of the IT structure, it is very easy to set up and configure. It has cloud-ready based deployment and Docker and OpenStack support that makes it easy to set up and get started with. It has a lot of scalability and high availability that allows it to grow with your challenges. Projects within it can really scale a lot based on what you think of them or what your company needs for that specific project. And there is a low total cost of ownership, which gives it a lot of quick configuration on complex workflow, a lot of data models and permission management. Project deployment functionality really requires no heavy lifting and minimal admin work as well. That's really been all I